I'm Matt Groff. I'm here to hopefully help you, give you some ideas about your work in the environmental market. Whatman is a paper manufacturer. In terms of paper, it's general filter paper that we've all seen and used in General Chemistry 101. But it's unbeknownst that Whatman has over 60 different types of filter paper. Filter paper in the lab's just like filter paper at your home. You don't use a facial tissue to clean up in the kitchen, a coffee filter to wipe your face. There in the laboratory, paper's the same way. And hopefully you can get to find the proper paper for your application in your environmental lab. I'm one of you guys. I got a degree in environmental sciences. I was a wastewater chemist for 4 years. Then I went into sales for the last 37 years, selling to the environmental market. But I've always continued to keep my wastewater license active in North Carolina. Some of the things that we can do to try to help you in your application. Most people have to do some sampling in the rivers, upstream, downstream, or even in the plant. In terms of pH, a quick pH, we sell the coated type, and we also have the non-coated type with the pH printed on it. So you don't have to take your little code with you, which is a time saver and a ease of use way of doing things. When you go to the river, you've got capsule devices that you pull the samples out that filter them as you go to bring them back into the laboratory. And we've got some unique devices. We talked about making those little devices from our filters, membranes, and paper. It's called a Uniprep. You put your sample in here, it filters it on away, and it'll hold your sample till you get back to the laboratory. But just a few items that we can talk about. BODs. Biological oxygen demand. It's a biological phenomenon, as we all know, but it's not anything that Whatman products can aid you in, except for maybe pH to test between 6 and 8 when you're doing your setup. CODs, we don't really have anything for you in that arena, unless it would be something of the pH paper as well. Total suspended solids, that's our game. In total suspended solids, the 934AH is the product of choice. Many of you old school guys still take that Gooch crucible and that smaller diameter filter, and you weigh and wash that Gooch every time you have to do it. And you use the 24 millimeter diameter. Ever thought about going to a 47 millimeter diameter? Because you can also use it in the same device that you do your membrane filters. And then the 47s, you get a larger diameter of sample throughput, which may assist you. So that the 934, it gives you a solution and an option that you can do. Now, in addition to that, as another time saver, we offer the 934 as a ready-to-use product for your total suspended solids. Be sure you know that you've got the proper pore size on your glass fiber. There are some glass fibers out there that are 1.2 micron. Preferably the Federal Register prefers a 1.5. To assist you in that 1.5, I mean, we sell diameters from 20 to 150 cut size. You want the smaller ones that are convenient to work with. But just to let you know that we do have a version. You have to wash it 3 times with deionized water. You have to dry it and you have to pre-weigh it. Then you start your work of putting your sample through it. We now have a version that will give you we wash it 3 times, we dry it, and we pre-weigh it for you. And we put the label of what the weight is on the dish. In terms of your membrane filters for your microbiological, your coliforms, we only have one product, and that is the membranes. The media, the apparatus, those items, you'd obtain those from your other dealer of choice. But in terms of these membranes, we can offer you them in the individual pack or the device that loads them and puts them towards you. Our portfolio of different products some of them are hidden. They can assist you in what you do in your job every day. For instance, you do a lot of loss on drying for your sludge. And you've already got the glass fiber if you're doing total suspended solids, and a little bit of that sludge on the glass fiber will help you get surface area to do your drying, to get your loss on drying in a different perspective. You already have the product there, use it. it'll assist you. Different scenarios that people do in different labs I've been in over the years. As I walk through the lab, if you're doing some of the upper tests in the laboratory with a GC or an AA, you want to filter your samples. You want to filter your samples so they don't clog your nebulizer, so that they don't clog your column. So you'll take some of the devices that are available from many different arenas out there, and they'll use them. As I walk through a lab, they've got a syringe filter. And that syringe filter is sterile, as is that one. It's noted by putting it in the individual container. Well, you're not using it in a sterile arena. You're paying for that sterilization. Be sure you know what you need. Be sure you're not paying that extra money for something you don't need. Syringe filters, Teflon. Teflon is a hydrophobic product. It repels water. It does not like water. Now, it will work eventually, because I've seen people take it, put the Teflon filter on, draw the sample up, try to push it through, and they'll push so hard that it leaves the imprint on their thumb, okay? That's not good for your thumb over a long period of use, and it'll eventually go, and it'll shoot through, but it doesn't mean you got a good filtering job. It means you've ruptured the membrane. So be cautious of little things like that. In terms of that, we do have a products that we take a series of glass fiber and pore sizes and develop that product so that it may take you 1, 2, 3 of your current device to get your sampling done, and this device may assist you without leaving that imprint and do your sampling and get your job done much easier. We have a product for Keldog nitrogen, and everybody who's ever done a Keldog realizes it's a bumpy, nasty test, and everything's up high. One of the hidden products that's available is a Keldog boat, for no better terms, that you add your sample to. So you simply drop the boat into the apparatus. You don't have to weigh your stuff and carefully try to get that material in there without spilling it. Just another thing to help you do your job every day if you're doing Keldog nitrogen. Some of the other hidden products from Whatman that are available to assist you in your jobs: anyone doing soil, anyone doing where you have to put something in, your Thimbles, which are cellulose or paper, just like our filter paper. They're also available in glass, just like our glass, that you could be reused for different applications. But remember that we only have one piece of the puzzle there, because we have only the Thimbles. The glass, the solvent, the heating mantle you get from your other dealers. In terms of the other products for there that any lab can use, Benchkote. It's a paper plastic matrix that lays on the bench to keep your bench clean. But in the environmental arena, you can use it, the plastic or the paper side up. It's a well-known, well-generated product that's available to you to help your job and keep your lab clean. So that the inspectors, they admire when they walk into a very clean laboratory. For other products, lens paper, ideally for cleaning glasses, for cleaning microscopes, cleaning any optical device. It's available through many different sources, but something that may assist you in the fact that I can't keep my glasses clean all the time. They tend to get dirty no matter what I do. Last but not least, we have a unique product used in the environmental arena. It's a paper that's silicone embedded. So if you're doing a separation from water and organic, the organic passes through the paper, the water stays on top. So it's a quick way, simple way to do a organic water separation. One of the tests that we forget about in the water, wastewater arena or environmental arena is TCLP, Toxicity Characteristic Leachate Procedure, which is designed to focus around landfills or different areas of concern, a leaking gas station or something of that effect, to find the inorganic, organic materials that may be leaching into the groundwater. One of those products that's necessary for the TCLP is a glass fiber, And that glass fiber, the requirements are to be between 0.6 and 0.8 in the micron pore size retention. We have a product that's a 0.7 in its pore size. The other aspect of that product has to be some additional processing because it has to be acid washed and be essentially metals free. So this is another product that we don't really talk about and mention, but is available from the Whatman brand of product. You all have permits as required by law from each individual state, and you have to meet those permits in terms of the results that your plant performs every month or every day or every quarter under your permit conditions. In terms of BOD, you want to make sure your bottles are clean, that you're using fresh reagents, and that you have documentation in relationship to that. In terms of your suspended solids, there again, things that you don't think about is making sure your balance is calibrated on a yearly basis. And you've got that calibration stamp on there. If you're running close to your permit condition, maybe 10 milligrams per liter, and you're 11 one day, you're 10 one day, you're 9, an improperly calibrated balance or a balance out of parameter might mean whether you're making that permit condition or not. In terms of your nitrogen, things to do is make sure that you're doing it in the proper fashion. If you need to distill that sample, make sure you're distilling that sample for your application, depending on how you're doing your nitrogen test, and your coliforms, making sure that your media is the proper media, whether you're doing it on a pad or you're doing it with an agar-based, and making sure that the petri dishes you're using are the proper petri dishes, because if they leak, they could give an adjustment to that sample. And also that your incubators are checked on a regular basis, that water bath incubator for fecal coliform is 44.5 plus or minus 0.2 degrees, and make sure it's on a regular basis, because that temperature will determine whether that grows or not and gives you the proper information. I've been in a lot of labs over the last 40 years. I've seen a lot of different scenarios. I've seen a lot of different things happen. Mostly in the environmental arena, that's where I have kept my specialty. I've kept my grade 2 license active just in case I needed it. But you know, I spend the time to go on and get my continuing ed hours and take the test and send the money in every year. So, but just some scenarios that I can offer in terms of different tests. BOD is a biological phenomena. It is not a chemical test. It's not a biological test. It's a phenomena. And we all know that there's certain things that don't go right at it. Our DG standards, which are required from state agencies, that we run that standard, and they tend to run in and out of different things. We used to constantly acid wash our BOD bottles and make sure that they're rinsed, and make sure that you don't have any growth or constant sunlight on your buffer container and your buffers. Little things that'll keep that blank in line to those tests. Make sure that if you make your DG standard up, that you keep it in a desiccator and it is in a dried form. If you buy it, make sure it remains fresh from the different sources that you buy it. And these are products that we don't sell. As you get those bubbles in there in your BOD bottles, you tap it to get the bubbles out, but if you'll take 2 and tap it on both sides, it'll get your bubbles out a lot faster. I once learned by trying to put the membrane over the YSI oxygen probe, and to do that, but you don't have to do that anymore because you buy them and they just snap right on. So that's one obstacle you don't have to do. In terms of your COD, just make sure you're safe when you use that test, because those vials do break. That is sulfuric acid. It will burn you. While in the lab, I had a compadre years ago. She had on her glasses, she had on her lab coat, she had on her gloves. She dropped the bottle of sulfuric acid. Typically in the lab, we don't wear rubber boots. It was in the winter. It was in February, and there was 8 inches of snow on the ground. She ran through the entire lab before somebody got to her, got her pants off, lose your vanity, got her in the shower, but she did suffer burns. So it was that bad times. And in the laboratory, it's Murphy's Law is going to catch up to you. He's there, and he will eventually come. So little things like that occur that you don't, and they occur at the wrong time. In terms of your solids, we talked about it earlier. There are different ways that you can do it that assist you and save you time now. In your microbiologicals, I know that the positive negatives are coming, but know your samples, know your streams, because in some cases you'll pick up interferences. In your industrial sampling, which has become big in the past 20 years, know where you're going, know what you're doing prior to doing any investigating there. I had a tragedy occur years ago where a gentleman was severely injured when he proceeded to go in to repair a pumping station coming out of an industrial site. So little things that we can give you that might offer you some suggestions and save you time, save you effort. In all these products, you have to call someone. You've got your own favorite distributor. You've got your own favorite person you talk to, your sales reps. But when you ever call anybody on the phone, it's frustrating in the laboratory arena because the laboratory arena is just about the worst arena you can buy from. A third of what we sell is glass. It breaks. When it breaks, UPS has got to take it back, or you've got to call and get a credit. The other third is a chemical. Chemicals are hazardous. Membranes are hazardous, require extra charges. And in beakers, people order boxes of beakers. They come in a pack of 6. So when you tell somebody you want 6, do you want 6 beakers? Do you want 6 packs? Because many times an error occurs, and there's a cost associated with fixing an error. Somebody's got to call, somebody's got to credit, somebody's got to ship back. And that's true with anything you buy. Remember who you talk to, jot the person's name down. It might save you. Your rep comes in, your guy was rude to me. Well, what was his name? I didn't write his name down. If you had the name, it might be a training issue. And it's something simple as that. He wasn't being rude, he was reading what's on the screen. Many times in this arena, people go by what's in that computer screen. And they say, that product's on the way to you. Well, 2 weeks later, what they told you got it, it's not there. You're in desperate need. If you knew who you talked to, you could go back to it. But that person's not really telling you a tale. They're only telling you what's in that computer screen. Many times, if you say, sir, I'm in desperate need, can you pick up the phone and call that manufacturer to make sure that's proper information? And that can save you headaches in the long run. Some of the other component products that are available, typically you've got a syringe filter. You put them together, you push through. If you're using a dangerous solvent and you're not quite at your best that day, I've seen it many times that pushing the pressure will blow that syringe filter off of that syringe. You've just created a hazard. If you've got solvents or you've got components that you're fearful for, we've created a device that has a syringe filter combined. You pour your sample here, your syringe filter is at the bottom, so it's a push, there's nothing to separate. This is a great safety device if you've ever had that arena. If you're using radioactives, you're using different components that could injure someone, this would be a product that would help and assist you in your arena and your job. Additionally, syringe filters go into chromatography vials. This little device here has been available for many years. It's plastic. The membrane you push together, it becomes your chromatography vial. It doesn't work well in the environmental arena because of phthalates and a snap cap top. Now, glass version. Glass, it has an internal glass catch basin. It goes up into the glass with a crimped cap, different application. And last but not least, you know, if you're filtering those samples, you lose that material that's been filtered because it's no way to get it out of a syringe filter. It's no way to get it out of that device. Available to you are some little devices that allow you to take a separate membrane, open it up, put the membrane in, close it, work as if it were that type of apparatus, but then at the end you can open up and get your material off of that. I hope I have given you some information that might be helpful to you, that saves you 15 minutes on a phone call, that saves you some frustration because it didn't work out, in remembering what that Whatman has. We have paper, we have glass fiber, and we have membranes. And with those three components, we do a variety of different things, other devices, specialty paper, or something that can assist you in helping your job do better. I'd like to thank you for your time, and I hope that this information can have an impact on you in your daily life.